3, 2.
I got everybody pregnant with Barry Katz and semen.
I'm not comfortable with the tone this is taking.
If you're undeniable, you will not be denied.
If you want to be successful in show business, you get yourself a Jew white manager like Barry Katz.
Being a manager is just turning no's into yeses.
Creating holy shit moments. Undeniable.
You're fucking firing me up, Katz.
I love this man.
Is there anything else I should know?
You're on. What? Now I'm on the air.
Barry Katz, back in the house.
Let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest today. What an honor. Tone Bell.
Yes, good to be here, man. Good to see you.
So good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, and I just want to tell the audience something. From the moment I met you,
oh man,
I just had such a great feeling about you. Just so much charisma, so much confidence, so much power, and the ability to psychically figure out, as a chameleon, how to walk into any room and take the fucking room.
Well, you say that. I mean, I guess I'm still, learning my moves. But man, it's been a fun ride. I met you early when I got to the city. It was like 2011.
2011. We're going to share with the audience your story because this is like so crazy. So I'm working on the Whitney show as an executive producer, and I was representing Whitney at the time. And then in the middle, I think, or part of it the way through, I wasn't representing her, but I was still one of the executive producers. And the first series, the first season, we had a cast member that didn't make the cut for the second season.
Yep.
And as fate has it, when something bad happens to somebody else, the window opens for another person.
Yep.
But Tone had been a comic on the East Coast and essentially come to LA, it seems like seconds before we were recasting.
Yeah.
When did you arrive and when did you land in LA, and when approximately did you go on the audition for Whitney?
I was thinking about this when I ran to you last night. So I got to LA in August of 2011. I got that diversity at the time. It was called Stand Up for Diversity. I got the diversity deal with NBC back in. I guess they announced it in January of 12, and then a couple months later, I already booked some commercials. Had like a quick arc on a VH1 show, and then to date that was like my biggest audition because now that it's like I don't know if it was pilot. I don't think it was pilot season. It might have been pilot season.
No, because.
Was it the summer? I think it might have been the summer.
I think it was the summer because what happened was they made a commitment that they wanted to go with diversity on the show because apparently the show was too.
It was kind of white.
Kind of white.
It was kind of white. I mean, it was mostly white. It was all white, other than brown for brown that I end up being sub for. But I do remember reading, and of course I knew Whitney a little bit and Chris a little bit and Chris D'Elia. And because I'm getting my feet wet doing stand up, I'm at the store and I'm at the factory, I'm at the Improv, so I see them, and I remember coming in there. So this is summer. This is probably June. I'm thinking June, July of 12, and it's one of those crazy parts where you study the game. You study who's producing, who's TV, multicam, single cam, primetime TV, and who are the agents, and get my feet wet in the business. And so, of course, I already knew who you were, and then some other producers. How
did you know who I was? I didn't know who you were.
I've been listening to podcasts before they was popular.
Okay, all right.
So, especially in the comedy game, I knew you had the club in New York, and but it was weird for me because I hadn't done anything this big yet, not even an audition this big. So to get that call, and then I go in the room, and it's like everybody I'm fans of.
Now the first, if I'm not wrong. There's something happened to you that was a little bit odd. Because you won the diversity showcase, you didn't do the regular first audition with the casting director and the assistant on the camera. With the casting.
No, I did.
Oh, you did do that.
I did. Here's what's crazy. You just reminded me of something right now. I was on a college tour. From that thing, you get a college tour. So I'm doing like 50 dates around the country, just going to make little chump change here and there. And I had 6 auditions. Do you know that?
No.
I had 6 auditions. At one point I go, I'm not getting this fucking show, so I'm gonna stick on the road. So they were like, well, you need to come back for this. I go, no, fly me back. So I made them fly me back.
Wait a second. So let's go back for a second.
Literally 6 auditions. This test was number 6.
So your first audition for the show was approximately 6 months after you landed.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many auditions had you done in Los Angeles before that first audition on the show?
For television, 10.
10. Okay. And any callbacks?
Booked one thing.
Booked one thing.
Booked one thing.
So 1 out of 10. So you had a 10% ratio at that point.
Correct.
Which shows you, everybody, for those of you listening.
I was booking the hell out of some commercials now. My commercial life, your boy was eating off these commercials. I was doing well.
Okay, well, commercials are different. You walk in the room and you say, hi.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Okay, you're in.
But I had a hell of a high.
So 6 months in, you got 10 auditions. You're batting 100 on the theatrical auditions, which is amazing for all of you listening to know that you can fail 9 out of 10 times.
And it's still great.
Yeah. So you do the audition with the casting director first. You finish, you leave the room, and then you get the call, and they want you to come back. The next one is with the casting director and who else?
Casting director and I think one producer.
Got it. Okay. So you do that audition. They put that on tape. Then you get the call again to come back again. Mm-hmm. And now you're coming back for Whitney.
I think it's Whitney and Andy.
Yep.
Yep. I think Andy was there. And all these are like, man, it was like 4 in a week. I was going back almost every day or every other day.
Now, Andy Ackerman,
the director.
Yeah, the director.
And then, I go out of town for a college gig, for like 2 college gigs. I come back in town because I didn't hear anything. So I go, all right, well, I'm going on the road. Go do some shows, come back. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a Tuesday. So that's like audition number 4 or 5.
Number 4, and that one, Whitney was there.
Whitney was there.
And with everybody else, and then the studio, just somebody from the studio showed up at that one. Yes,
Stuber was there.
Yeah, Scott Stuber, who now is the head of films at Netflix.
So Scott Stuber was there,
and
then
Quan Fung.
Yep, and then it came testing time.
Now let's just explain to the audience how this works. Okay, so he did 4 auditions. Sometimes he only has to do 1 audition, sometimes 2, but whatever. So when they test you, what happens is that the studio gives you a contract to your manager, your agent, or if you don't have anybody, and the contract is like a 60-page contract.
Oh my God.
That locks in your money for the pilot if you get it, and every episode of the series for 6.5 years.
Correct.
The reason why they do that is so if they didn't do that and he were to get the job, he would say, hey, listen, okay, now you want me.
Yeah, you got to sign before.
So you got to sign before you go in. And so it's got to be negotiated. So let's say they'll try to lowball him because he doesn't have any television credits. They might offer him like $15,000 an episode or something like that. Now, I know what the audience is thinking. $15,000, that's fucking unbelievable money. It's crazy. But that's the way television is, and the lowest amount of money you'll probably get offered these days would be that, and sometimes the lowest amount you might get offered, even if you haven't done anything, is $20,000 or $25,000. And so he's getting the first offer. He's doing a college tour where he's probably making $12.50 a date or something like that. And now he's getting an offer that comes in, and I don't want him to tell me the money. But
because I'll say it these days.
Because I don't even remember, but I'm presuming the first offer I believe was between $20,000 and $25,000 an episode, or between $17,500 and $20,000. No, lower. Was it 15?
We had to get to 15. That's a whole different. We might have to do a part 2 of this shit because we had to get to 15.
I don't remember why that was. Maybe
it was because of the deal I had with the network already.
Oh, okay.
So it's a different circumstance. It was,
but
sorry. You were 100% right, but my circumstance was different.
So when you do I forgot. So I'm sorry. When you win the diversity thing, you win something, but you have to also sign a contract that says you're exclusive to them and they can put you in different things, and your quotes are decided on that deal.
Whether you get something or not.
Yeah. And
so we'll try to find something for you.
I forgot about that. I'm so sorry.
I learned a lot early.
And so his manager and agent are fighting to get more, even though he already has a contract. But they probably hear through the grapevine that he's a favorite, and so they're trying to get as much as they can.
Push a little harder, yeah.
So he gets the money, and he goes in, and when what happens next is he tests for the studio first.
Correct.
Okay, and the studio can make a decision to bring him next forward to the network, or they can say you're out and you're not going forward. Do you remember the people you tested against?
Yeah, Malcolm Goodwin, who I just saw a couple. I haven't seen. Honestly, I don't think I've seen him since that test. Saw him a few weeks ago. Malcolm Goodwin and, if I'm not mistaken, D. Ray Davis.
It was D. Ray Davis. Now, and D. Ray made it to the network. Did Malcolm make it to the network?
Yeah.
So all three of you passed through the studio.
And then it was Kim Reed's with Chris. So after that was Kim Reed's, but it was yeah. So it was three of us, and man, DeAndre from The Wire. Last name is slipping my mind, but great actor. But yeah.
All right. And it's very important, believe it or not, the order in these tests and the way the order is structured.
Oh, teach me something, 'cause I didn't know this. Go ahead.
Okay. Normally, the studio knows who they want. Whitney knows who she wants. People know who they want, who their favorites are, and they try to position them in a place where they're going to do the best. So ordinarily, the person that you're trying to get the job is never going first.
Okay.
I presume you didn't go first.
I don't think I went first.
And the person that you want to get the job, a lot of times if there's more than three, you don't want them to go last because the attention span could be out of the room could be blown out. So you want them to go either second or third. When did you go on?
I think I went second or third, because I remember when I got there, I had some trouble getting there. I remember getting onto the lot, or like my pass wasn't called in or something, so I'm already a little late, and I usually get everywhere pretty early, and but I think Malcolm come out of the room, which hate that part. Oh my God, I hate it. Like, just, you know, you hear oh man, that was great, you know, you hear a couple laughs and then somebody leaving, and now you're like, oh fuck man, now I'm in my head about it.
I always wanted to ask, you're the perfect person to ask this about. Why does that bother comedians who are actors when they're in comedy clubs sitting in the back watching people crush before them, 300 people like standing or laughing or going crazy? Let's have one more time for Michael Che, everybody. Our next act was on the Whitney Show. Please welcome Tone Bell. Why don't you care about that, but you care about some guy? Hey, great job, wonderful, you killed it in there.
I mean, you know, it's like
what's the difference?
It's like having to date somebody's ex.
Done that?
And then and somebody told you how good they were in bed, and you're
been
like,
there.
I wish I didn't know that. I could just do my style. Now I got to outdo this.
Had that feeling?
You know, so it's yeah. I mean, plus, you know, especially when you fans of people, so you go, oh man, I'm a fan of your work, and then they loved you, so now you kind of, you know, you do lose a bit of confidence with that, you know, or you try not to let it. I mean, I have tricks around that now, but that early in, I didn't know better.
So you're feeling like shit right before your test.
And then I'm watching people I've seen on TV already. So now I go, I ain't even been on TV. Commercials though, I had some commercials. But I hadn't really been on TV
I don't think rowing a boat inside of a toilet is going to help you in terms of your career.
I mean, it was, hey man, I had some good ones. I had some nice 90-second, you know, internet spots. But, you know, yeah, I mean, I've been watching D-Ray on TV for years. I've been watching Malcolm in nice dramas and comedies for years. So, like, it really throws you off to go, why would anybody take a chance on, you know, but you have that, especially when you, the new kid. When you're the new kid and you're young and you're fresh, you go, why would they choose me? Even if I'm good, why would they choose me, give me a shot? And I mean, now I get why I can get a shot, but you just go, if I was casting, I'd probably choose this person. So you kind of have that in the back of your mind. And when, you know, comedically, you just kind of, you see the dude on stage, you go, man, I'm a fan of him, and that was a great set. I kind of want to keep watching him, and that's what you think the crowd is thinking. Versus, now I got to come, they were already having a good time, can I put him back in there? And now, once again, I don't think that much anymore about it, But especially early on, it was like, oh shit, I got to follow.
Okay, so how did you mentally get yourself together in 4 minutes?
This George Clooney quote that I heard before.
What's the quote?
The quote is, "Don't be mad if you don't get the job. It's already a job you didn't have."
Okay.
I mean, you can't lose a job that you don't have. So I got this far, and it's like, okay, if I can get this far, if I can get to testing, I can get to testing again. I can get to Kim Reed's again. Network knows me. Some people are fans. So as long as I don't fall apart in here. So it's like.
So tell me what, normally in these rooms, and I've been in so many of these rooms,
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's something that every actor brings to the table that you can't quantify. The other actors don't know what they're going to do. It's like the Hunger Games. You know, everybody's going out in the field and nobody knows how everybody's trying to kill them, but the goal is to kill them. And you have the tools in your toolbox that you have. You have the phrases that you know you're going to use. You have probably an improv line that you're going to throw in that nobody knows you're going to throw in, and you're going to take that risk. And what is it that you felt you did, not knowing ever, that you're not ever seeing all the other actors' auditions? What do you think it was, besides your acting ability, that you did that blew them away?
React on the opposite side of a scene. I think that's real big for me, on always expressing myself, even if this, like, if I'm not winning the scene, if my character's not winning the scene, there's that thing of like, I don't know, I'm really good at facial expressions, and that was real big for me. So reading with Chris, reading with Whitney, of when in the non-dialogue of it, am I still in the scene?
Commedia dell'arte.
And it was. I think that's always helped me. I think from day one, that's always helped me. Of like, I stay in the scene. I don't wait for it. I mean, it's like I'm always in there. I mean, silence is a big tool for my stand-up. So it's a big tool for especially a multicam, huge tool. So like it's you can always cut to me. I know that you're gonna get something from me. So I think that was real big on like pacing, timing from stand-up, and
so when you're going over your audition, most people make notes and they're like, okay, all right, get a little angry here. Okay, this is emphasize this word, and they'll do things and they'll
we
scribble
also
on
went
their
back and
script.
watched the whole first season.
Mm-hmm.
I go watch clips of both of them just to like familiarize myself, because I didn't know them that well. But just, how do they talk? How do they move? What's their, body language? How do they, it was like studying them. How can I fit into this world? Do I fit into this world? So I really did a lot of research on, I watched a lot of Andy. I've been watching him for years, didn't know I was watching him, but I was, so like, it was really just like studying them.
Okay, but like I said, you're making the notes, but you're a different kind of actor. You make notes saying, okay, roll your eyes here.
I do.
Okay, pout here. Your notes are physical notes.
A lot of times, yeah.
Which is very unusual.
Yeah.
And so you
walk away, turn back, look up,
You know what's odd is that your stand-up, I honestly would never say, if somebody said, what distinguishes Tone Bell's stand-up from other... I never would say, wow, it's the way he Steve Harvey's the joke, with his, eyes and his... I would never say that. I was just talking to Nimesh Patel here, and I was telling him how he could close my eyes and listen to him, and I could laugh hysterically. So I never really thought of you as a stand-up who relied like wholly on expression.
It's expression and silence.
No, the silence, very important.
Yeah.
But I never felt like your acting crosses over to your stand-up. Am I wrong?
I think so. I mean, I hate to tell you that you're wrong, but I think you are.
I love hearing I'm wrong.
I think there's a very few people, very few comics, and there are some out there, but I think you could watch. I think you could watch, especially my last special. I think you could watch it on mute and still get some of the jokes. I think that's hard to do.
Do you know that's how I used to watch videos to determine whether I wanted to manage somebody?
I think you get a lot from it. I think you can watch a 10-minute clip and go, I don't know if I know what he said, but I think I kind of know where I'm at in this bit. I think I know why this part is funny. I think I know. I think you can. Some of them are a little more cerebral. Some of them are kind of physical, but especially the stuff I'm doing now, I think a lot of them are. I think you can just read the body language and the expressions, and you can tell when a character switches.
I guess I remember early on watching you. My apologies, but I'm going back in time when you were testing for the show, and I would watch your stand-up, and I was like, I don't really see what this guy is going to do in the room or how he's going to transform in the room from that. I think you're a different comic now than you were then.
Yep.
So I don't think I'm wrong about how your stand-up was then.
I agree.
You know, I think your stand-up, I think you were trying to be... Honestly, I think you were concerned. I don't know what was in your mind.
No, go ahead. I'd love to hear this.
But I think when you came to LA, I think you were, and before you were coming and while you were preparing to come to LA, I think you were concerned about how comics are perceived when they're too physical and rely on too much of their body. And I think you were trying to be that guy who not necessarily planted his feet, but a guy who really relied on the cerebral to the microphone as opposed to the expressions. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about your last special.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hey everybody, it's Barry Katz, and I wanted to talk to you about Blueprint for Success. This is a community that I put together during the pandemic to help all artists of every walk of life in the entertainment business, no matter where you are in that part of this journey. It's designed to help you. There are podcasts with people that will inspire you, like Kevin Hart, Judd Apatow, Bill Burr, that you can't find anywhere else but on this program that I've interviewed, to times where we get to talk to executives in the business that you would never have access to tell you what you need to hear and to answer your questions, to all sorts of different videos and master classes designed to help you get to the promised land. That's what the Blueprint for Success is. Doesn't matter whether you want to be a stand-up comedian, a sketch performer, a podcaster, an actor, an actress, director, writer, social media person, whatever you want to be. I've been doing this for 40 years. I've had the honor and been humbled to represent people like Chappelle, Wanda Sykes, Louis C.K., Dane Cook, and probably over 20 other people who went from a studio apartment to being a multi-millionaire and a household name. And I want that for you, and I wanted to take the time with this program to be able to help you on your way there, to get there and to heighten and increase the trajectory of your career. Blueprint for Success is the way to go. I'm proud to be a part of this program, and I'd be proud to have you to be a part of it too.
So that's why I'm trying to figure out for the audience and for you, like, how do you go from that stand-up that you were doing, and it's a whole different muscle, and in 10 auditions you book a network series regular.
Trust me, like, I don't even like telling people my story, because it's like it don't really happen. It doesn't happen like that. Like, it's
when has it ever happened?
I mean, I was a regular on network TV in less than a year.
When does that ever happen?
It's like I don't even like talking about it to a lot of people, because it's when people ask me for advice, or I mean, I can give you advice on some stuff, but how to start, I really can't, because my story is kind of unheard of. It doesn't really happen like that. So I mean, I know some people who you know, we talk about, you know, some people that I do know, like, who've had that opportunity quick, but yeah, I mean, it's on the job training. You know, I mean, like, between, like, you know, doing theater and like stand up and you know, I've been kind of in front of a camera, you know, for a long time, but not you know, nothing close to this. But there's Plus I was corporate, so there was like, meeting people and learning how to network and learning names and doing some research and due diligence. I mean, all that worked together. But man, who comes to Hollywood in 8.5, 9 months? You got a billboard. That don't really happen.
But this is something else that's really fascinating, as you know. It's not getting there.
Oh, it's staying there.
And so
sustainability.
Whitney gets canceled, and what happens with Tone Bell? It seems like seconds later you're on another network series.
Next season I do Bad Judge.
Insanity.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I got a call, and it was 2 shows that NBC called me about, and it was myself and Malcolm Barrett, and we were reading for. He was reading for Bad Judge. I was reading for some show. Man, it was a very funny. Oh man, I forget the name of it. And then so they switched us rooms. They go, no, you over here, you over here. Why don't y'all? We want to take you over here and then bring you over here. And I was like, okay, all right. I don't really know this one. And then I go and I think I meet with casting who I had already met with before on something else, and then Kate Walsh walks in the room and we just start talking shit.
Kate Walsh, just so our audience knows, and I mentioned the phrase commedia dell'arte. I probably pronounced it improperly. If you remember in your history or reading books, it's the kind of theater where they wear the masks and the eyes and the big nose and the mouth, and the acting is done through the mouth and the eyes. And Kate Walsh is a disciple of that through Tim Robbins and the famous Actors Gang in Los Angeles. And that's where I first saw her. That's where she studied. That's where she... I believe learned how to be, or at least partially learned how to be the phenomenal actor she is, and being able
learned
to
a
be
lot
the
from Kate.
Physicality of it. And then now comes a guy who's in the room with Kate, who might not have been using the physicality like he is now, but he was starting to do it.
Yeah.
And she could see that you had that skill set, even though you weren't trained in it.
Correct. Different muscle had to tap into, took some classes. I walked in there, got that job.
Who did you test against there?
Oh man, I think I was Ron. A lot of people. Marcus Tate. I think, man, I want to say Sam Richardson was there. Ron Funches. Bunch of, and actually that was for like the 6th lead. And then we did the pilot, and then they renegotiated my contract, and I ended up, there was a kid that was supposed to be the 2nd lead of that show, and I tested better than the kid, and they made me the 2nd lead, and the kid got written off the show. I took an 11-year-old's job.
And now that poor kid is in therapy. And,
he got a new gig. He's on season 3 somewhere. I'm not gonna say the show, but yeah, he's doing well. He's doing well.
So, how is the tone bell in the waiting room to test for Bad Judge different from the tone bell that was in the waiting room?
You know you're
Whitney?
castable.
Say that again?
You know you're castable now.
So you got some swagger.
I got a little, I got a little more confidence about me. It's like, if it ain't this one, it'll be another. I can get a job now.
But
so
there's a
feel
tone
good.
bell in the room.
But also I got fans now. I got fans in the studio and the network now.
So did the people who were testing for Whitney.
Yeah, but
then Tone Bell comes in now, and he's got swagger, just like the guys who Tone Bell took out in the first Whitney. So is there a guy in the waiting room that has the Tone Bell philosophy of Whitney who wants to take out the guy who has the swagger?
he better.
But he didn't.
But he didn't.
How come he didn't?
I got the juice, man.
So then you do Bad Judge, which has tremendous heat, and it seems like that show is going to be wildly successful.
Yeah.
he's counting his money into piles and thinking about all the supermodels he's going to fuck on it. And I'm going to cut that out.
No, keep that in there.
Okay. And the show gets canceled.
A lot of problems up top, a lot of issues with direction, and I mean, they literally, I mean, and I understand it now being in the game longer, but the show shifted. I mean, like literally I shifted the show. So, you know, you think you're going to have this relationship with a 10-year-old and a 40-year-old, and now it becomes a platonic friendship of like a judge and a bailiff. Thinking, okay, we didn't set up for that.
And the show gets canceled, and there's a 10-year-old somewhere at home blowing out his birthday cake saying, yes, that motherfucker, he took my job.
Yeah, he's probably very happy.
This is the happiest birthday I've ever had.
Very happy, yeah.
But then that gets canceled, and then what happens to Tone Bell next?
Tone gets a holding deal.
It's fucking unbelievable. The guy fails upwards. He's like a football coach. It's incredible.
At this point, I'm 2 years in. I've done 26 episodes of TV. What's a holding deal? A holding deal.
Well, I'll ask that. So,
okay.
Everybody, just so you should know, I should have Tone explain what a holding deal is versus a development deal.
Correct. And I've had both at this point. And
I got you with the time.
Hey man.
We're not gonna...
So I get this holding deal. So I get the brass calls me up at this is back when Greenblatt was there.
Yeah. David Greenblatt.
Bob
Greenblatt. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Bob
Greenblatt.
Yeah.
Bob Greenblatt's there. She's at Amazon now. She's Jen Solke.
Yeah.
Lauren Anderson. I mean, love all of them. Like, they've been really great to me over the years. And so they invite me to the office, and they go, we want to give you a holding deal to keep you over here. So it's a 12-month deal that from the moment you sign, 12 months from that day, they give you essentially a bag of money for you to stick around until they find you a job.
And if you're an agent or a manager, your main goal is twofold. Number one, increase the money. Number two, reduce the time of exclusivity.
Correct. So
what did you get it down to? Or it still ended up 12 months, but more money.
12 months. Instead of 25% up front, I think we got 50% up front. Because they normally give you like a quarter. They offer you a quarter of the money up top. And then, because what happens is it's a bag of money, but it's not a bag of money. The bag of money is, yes, you're going to get $250,000, $500,000, $1 million, whatever your holding deal is. What people don't get is you still work it off, so it's still retroactive. So if you get $250,000, $500,000, whatever show you do end up on, you don't get paid until basically you work that off.
And there are some holding deals where there's applicable money. So normally, the first holding deal a person does, they try to get you to do 100% of the money applicable to whatever you do, if you do something. And if you have great managers and agents, and the more you do it, you can get like 50% applicable, and the other 50% just goes in your pocket and it doesn't apply. But anyway, and then the development deal, why don't you explain that to our audience?
Development deal is, you kind of... and it goes different ways too, but mine have always been a development deal. They want to work with you, and so they're like, what ideas do you have? Come pitch us some stuff. And if, maybe we have a development deal with a writer as well, or if you want to write something, so you kind of figure it out. You kind of look at who they have deals with already, unless you kind of want to do it on your own. And if they feel comfortable enough with you, then you kind of set out. They, once again, give you some money to stick around, and then you chisel out a script and lay it out for them, and you kind of tap a director or a writer or a producer, and they kind of package you together, and then you go develop this project, and hopefully it's on in the next, the next fall or mid-season show or something like that. But I think most of mine have been, I think the only one I didn't have I had to deal with FX that I don't think they packaged me with writers, but everyone else I got packaged with writers.
And so you're normally packaged with writers also that have deals with the network.
Yeah.
So you're beholden to those people as opposed to people from the outside.
But with the holding deal, you only get a couple opportunities to turn down a show.
Yeah.
So you can't just say no. You can say no, but you can't say no too many times. Otherwise,
you can say no twice. You say no a third time, you have to give the money back.
correct.
All right, let's go way back.
And the truth be told was the next show. But go ahead.
No, keep going.
No, that was show number 3 for NBC. Three shows in 3 years.
It's incredible.
It was
Do you know anybody in the free world who's a stand-up comedian who did 3 different shows in 3 years from 6 months from when they moved out?
I'm telling you, you need to produce my documentary.
I would be honored to. I'd be honored to do anything with you. I've loved this guy from the moment I met him. I've been trying to meet him since Falco had a hit on the radio. It's been a long time. Anyway, let's go way back.
Okay.
Tell me where you grew up, the socioeconomic dynamic, and what was the inspiration to get into this crazy f***ed up business?
Yeah, I'm from Decatur, Georgia, originally, just outside of Atlanta. Folks are from St. Louis, but I grew up in Atlanta. Lower middle class, I would say middle class now. My folks probably is middle class, but lower middle class. Moved a lot. Was only child. Spent a lot of time not at home, even when I was at home. And activity wise, I mean, I was on public access TV at 12.
You don't have to brag.
Yeah, I mean,
Candlepins for cash.
Shout out to Kids Barn.
All right.
Saturday mornings on PBS or public broadcasting, something like that. Kids Barn. And
you were on fire as a 12-year-old.
Hey man, I was doing sketch comedy. I was in a group called Vision on Wednesday nights when I was in high school, and sports and stuff. Went to college in 2000. Did theater in college.
Where was that?
Savannah State in Savannah, Georgia.
You don't have to brag about that.
And hey man,
Okay.
I was leading every play.
All right, just checking.
Did a lot of August Wilson, and did a little bit of theater after college, and then moved back to Atlanta briefly. Got a job at an ad agency in 2005. Moved to San Francisco, Chicago and San Francisco, and then thought I was better than I was. Learned a lot from my boss there because I thought I deserved a promotion, and I went back to Atlanta thinking he'll call back because he needed me, and he never called back. And then then I lived in Miami, got a job with Anheuser-Busch. Traveled a lot doing that, so I've been traveling for a long time. Like before, once you hitting the road, like I've been on the road before I was a comic. So and then got back to Atlanta, got a job with Anheuser-Busch, Miami for a few months, New Orleans for a few months, Dallas 4 or 5 years. That's where I started stand up because I had that corporate gig didn't allow me to act or host anything. So stand up was like, all right, I need to, even if this is just a hobby, I need to do something active and creative. And so I was already writing, but I didn't formally do stand up, and I couldn't do, there's no scene out there really. But then I got to, about 6 months in, people started asking me to do shows, and a year in, somebody asked me to feature for them. Going on the road, I'm disregarding my job. They about to fire me anyway. Luckily, we get bought out, and as soon as I get my severance package, take my ass to LA. But I had done the Stand Up for Diversity. Done that 4 times. So I failed the first 3. Not failed, but I mean, I got closer every time. And then the 4th year, I won the whole thing. I'm assuming this is mine, right?
That is yours.
I'm not tearing up in my story. Something just got in my throat. So I'm not like telling my own story crying like, look how much I've accomplished.
We're going to cut that out, and we're just going to keep him crying over a story.
1,
2,
3,
4,
5,
5,
6 degrees of separation.
6 degrees of separation. I'm going to mention some names.
Yep.
Just say anything that comes to mind, a word, a phrase, a little story. Kevin Hart.
Big inspiration. Years before I met him, his set on Gotham, I watched November, December of 2007, and I saw a lot of myself comedically. Was like, it got me to go, oh, I think I can do this, because I loved that set on Gotham, Live at Gotham, that he did. And it was I don't know, he always reminded me of, like, I always want to say, like, I like, to me what I do is like a little bit of Kevin Hart and a little bit of Seinfeld. That's how I think about my stand-up quite a bit. So Yeah, huge inspiration.
Last comic standing.
Terrifying. Had some friends who did it. Loved the show. I just knew that wasn't my style, but I saw friends get on it. I saw friends get careers from it, but I thought it was an important show. I thought it was a really important show, just because I don't know. Network stand up doesn't really get the. There should be more of it, but we just don't get it.
Wanda Sykes.
The woman is unbelievable with her advice. Love Wanda. I think she's even better now than she was. Her last special was amazing. Love talking to Wanda. I would go to her office every now and then, and she'd yell at me and tell me to quit being an idiot. She's great.
The drums. I've interviewed two drummers, and two are very good friends of mine. Franklin Vanderbilt, who's the drummer for Lenny Kravitz for 12 years, and Chad Smith, the drummer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And he tells me they both tell me the drummers are the most important part of a band, hands down.
Well, that's like, if you look at it, like, there's an age-old joke that, like, white people can't dance, but it's only because white people try to dance to the strings and not the drums.
I have the rhythm of a furnace.
Is it summer or winter? Because
keep going.
Yeah, drums. When I think of drums, I think of the dude I went to high school with named Ali Warren, who's a crazy ass dope drummer. Goes by Alien Warfare now, and he's just. He does. Kind of. You see like a really good drummer, like a Questlove or Travis Barker or something like that, and you just go, you're different. Like it's very rare when you see a drummer when you know what song it is from the drums. You know what I mean? Like drums, you rarely can tell. Like somebody can add the drums to something, but when a drummer can get out a rhythm to where you can hear like what song it is, that's fucking impressive.
Where do you put yourself as a drummer? Better drummer or better comedian?
Better comedian.
Better comedian or better actor?
To my perspective, a better comedian. But I don't know. I think I'm in a real good place with stand up right now. I think I've grown a lot in like the last 4 or 5 years, and I think I'm finally going to. I think the next 5 years is going to people really going to take notice of me more so because I've done a lot more TV than putting out clips or specials and stuff. Well, I'm about to do a new special, but I think it's going to be real. I think we get noticed a little more.
Cool. James Corden.
I don't have an opinion on James Corden. He seemed cool, I guess. Right? I'm thinking about the late night host, right?
Yeah.
James Corden. I think he sings a lot. Almost too much. He talks too fast. I think he's funny though. I think because he's English, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think English guys are funny. I don't know. I read some articles that don't paint him in a great light, but everybody be having a bad day.
Whitney Cummings.
Loud. She's loud as but I wouldn't be here without her. She's I can never say anything bad about Whitney. She gave me a shot, and I'm glad she did. And if she ever asked me to do something, she asked me one time to take over for her at a club she couldn't be at, and she thanked me for it. But once again, she gave me an opportunity. One day I hope to pay her back for all the things she's done for me.
Awesome. Your proudest moment in show business.
One of the proudest moments is probably the work I did in U.S. versus Billie Holiday, and then all the accolades that got, and doing some really tough scenes with someone who almost won an Oscar. That's a crazy win. It's unbelievable.
Your biggest disappointment in show business and how you used it to fuel yourself to the next level.
I don't know, man. It's been an incredible 12 years. Biggest disappointment. That's a tough one, Barry. Should have went to more parties. I didn't really party, man. It's like I had a cool ass job before I got to Hollywood, and so I really knew a lot of people when I got there because I had already been in a lot of rooms, but I wasn't on this side of it because I sponsored a lot of stuff in Miami and in LA and Chicago and Atlanta. So like, I don't know. I grew up with the owner of the current owner of Magic City, Lil Magic, who owns the strip club in Atlanta, and I used to see every celebrity pop through there. I mean, I'm not gonna name names, put people in the room, but I've seen a lot of people. So when I got there, I was like, "Yo, oh, you doing this now?" So it was. I'm going disappointment still. There was a oh man. The moment I was disappointed the most, there was a show that I really wanted to do, and I got the role, and then there was something that I've never seen happen before, and this is probably, I'm 6-7 years in now, so I've had a really good track record to this point, and still do, but Hulu called me for a series, and I got the part, and then they took the part away, and then I got called from another network to come do a show instead, and I go, I don't want to do that when I'm waiting on Hulu, and they're like, they're not going to call, we have something else, just know that this is not going to go through. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? That was wild. So I was really disappointed because I wanted to work with the other lead, and we were supposed to play brother and sister, and I did get a chance to work with her because the director was the same, and so she brought me back on because she was like, the director was like, I've never seen this happen either. But so it was nice to be wanted and nice to be kind of stolen away from something else. That project I just really wanted to work on, but that was very disappointing. Does that all make sense? I don't know if that made sense, but
I was crying a little bit because I got something caught in my throat. Last question, and I know you said you don't really know what to say to people, but I truly believe that there's something about how you lived your life growing up that brought you the success that you did. So what advice would you have for the young artist growing up in a small town in Georgia with maybe not the greatest parental situation, maybe not the greatest thing being an only child, and navigating and figuring out what you wanted to do, how you wanted to do it, how you wanted to approach it, and navigating through all the ins and outs of the business and have the kind of career that you're having?
I think you said something that kind of alluded to it earlier, but it's like I think you can fail upwards. I mean, all the things that you think are holding you back or making you uncomfortable, I think they might be the superpower, right? That might be the thing that drives it more, right? I mean, it's like I wasn't at home a lot, right? Like, I mean, it wasn't like a whole lot of family dinners and like vacations and all this kind of stuff. So I was out a lot. I was out, I would crash in other people's houses. I spent the summers with my family, and even in the summer I would hop around. So like, that's what I do now. I mean, like, I'm never stationary, right? So like that textbook, Kodak moment of what the perfect situation isn't helpful. Like, the degeneracy in something is what's helpful in the long run. So like, it's not a bad thing. It's like, it's like you said, you got to treat it like a tool because you never know when you're going to be able to use it. So like I mean, I got two tape measures. I got 1 inches and 1 centimeters. Now I needed the centimeters the other day because the shit came from Europe. I had some fucking European products, and I had to measure some shit, and I needed a centimeter tape. And I was like, this goddamn centimeter tape came in handy. I knew I kept this for a reason. Did it make sense? Yeah, I think I don't know. I think you can take most situations and which is like why comedy is funny. It's like, it's really the things that don't work out is what's the funniest, right? I mean, at this point I've done over 100 episodes of TV and only ever done season 1s. I'm on like my 11th or 12th show right now, and I've never done more than 1 season.
Incredible.
Living the dream, baby. I like to call them miniseries. I do miniseries.
Living the miniseries, baby. Tone Bell, thank you for taking so much time.
Absolutely,
And
man.
I just have one word of advice for you. Next time you're going shopping, buy a tape measure that has centimeters and inches on it.
Hey, man. Nah. Nope.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Barry.
What a pleasure.